recent months have seen a number of local restaurants closed. Several restaurants in the Gainesville area are feeling the effects, including one of Gainesville's staple restaurants. WUFT's Bianca Smith joins us now live from La Fiesta, a place that's been in the area 3 decades and will soon cease to exist.
3 staple Gainesville restaurants like Swamp Whale, Halo Donuts, and Vibes Juice Bars have shut their doors. Now, one of Gainesville's first Mexican restaurants, La Fiesta, is following suit. I spoke with the owner and customers about what's going on. Although there are a few empty tables during La Fiesta's lunch rush, co-founder Lupe Castro still says it has no choice but to close its doors.
We owe it all to our customers. They've been coming here forever. Like I said, we've seen a lot of little babies grow up here.
The rising prices of food and stricter budgets are the reason La Fiesta isn't bringing in enough revenue to sustain its menu.
Well, we're shutting it down because business is not the same as before. It's just everything is going down. The prices of meat are going up. The prices of groceries are going up. And, you know, it's hitting you right and left.
A reason that people love La Fiesta is because of the affordability of the food. A burrito ranges anywhere from $10 to $12, and a beer on happy hour is only $1.25. After 30 years, it has become a staple restaurant here in Gainesville. One customer says when he asked the server what was going on, she had tears in her eyes and that he's worried.
I feel bad for them because, the server that we were talking to a couple minutes ago has been here for a long time. So, yeah, it affects livelihoods.
This is the 4th staple restaurant in the past 2 weeks to announce its closing.
It gives us one less place to go and hang out, And we have a core group of people that like to go out to eat lunch, or my wife and I out to dinner, and it's just one less choices. And I try and support local businesses as much as I can.
On the 16th, La Fiesta, Gainesville's first ever Mexican restaurant, will officially be closing its doors. The Chamber of Commerce reports that only one of these restaurants shut down due to inflation. La Fiesta wants to thank their patrons and customers for great memories and times over the last 30 years. Reporting live in Gainesville, Bianca Smith, WUFT News.
That's right, Bailey and Jared. Suzanne never spoke up about her experience at the Holocaust until her neighbor told her that her son had met a Holocaust survivor at a museum. That's when she realized she had to speak up. Her unique story left students and teachers walking out of the auditorium with a new appreciation for life in this country.
Suzanne Schneider went from sharing a dinner table with German soldiers to being hunted down by them. At Abraham Lincoln Middle School, 7th and 8th graders had the chance to hear from her about her time in Poland during the Holocaust. She shared stories about being hidden by non-Jews, sneaking around Europe, and how her father, who was a doctor, managed to keep her alive. Abraham Lincoln Middle School teacher Brian Hanot says that he was incredibly surprised to see how attentive and connected the students were.
And normally kids don't engage like that. But to hear someone who lived this thing that they've heard so much about in front of them, it really connected with them.
Suzanne shared how she did everything she could to survive, like training a chicken to warn her about German soldiers. She's still scared of German shepherds, motorcycles with sidecars, and loud planes. Still, she shares her story.
I'm doing it because I feel I have to do it. Not that it's such a great joy for me to recall all that, but I need to share so the younger generation knows what went on, that it wasn't just a fairy tale.
Suzanne speaks to thousands of people across Florida, but especially the younger generation, because she says that they're receptive.
They were totally attentive, and it's wonderful. It's very fulfilling for me to know to do that.
When Suzanne and her family arrived to the United States, she says they never talked about their experience because they wanted to be thankful for what they had in the moment.
Suzanne encourages people to be thankful for what they have and to take care of those around them because you never know what tomorrow holds. Live in the newsroom, Bianca Smith, WUFT News. Thanks, guys. And the UF Homecoming Week brings fun and smiles for students and alumni alike. But for some businesses, this can be a stressful time. That's due to the number of people in town attending big events like Friday's parade. I spoke with several local businesses about the plans to stay open and safe throughout the weekend.
A&F Gyro has been in business for 3 months, and the owner says that they are excited about experiencing the homecoming atmosphere. During a regular day, they see around 300 orders, and on game days, it's even busier. But they're expecting even more traffic this weekend.
I only work mornings because it'd be so crowded with the students after like games and stuff like that.
Workers are already on high alert after a shooting nearby a month ago. They're hoping that despite the influx of people, they can keep employees and the business safe.
We hire like cops to come just like park here like on the weekends for stuff like that.
According to the UPD, in the last 2 years, only one case of criminal mischief was reported during homecoming festivities. UF student Brittany Chang was surprised to hear that there was only one reported incident.
I would expect there to be more, just because like even though there are more police, I just feel like people would be more excited, more like prone to do dumb things during homecoming week.
Latrell Simmons, captain of the University of Florida Police Department, says that although a lot of work goes into planning for security and staffing the various events, the department enjoys being there for the community.
It's exciting for us to be able to do that so that the student body, the faculty, staff can enjoy Gator Homecoming, right?
Captain Simmons wants to assure the people that all of the events, including the popular parade, will be fun, but also a safe time.
We'll see an abundance of law enforcement present just to make sure that you have a fun, safe environment for you and your family or your friends.
And if you do go to the parade or the homecoming game, UPD recommends that you stay hydrated and always be aware of your surroundings. And of course, wear that sunscreen and have lots of fun. Reporting live in the studio, Bianca Smith, WUFT News. This case is very significant as Governor Ron DeSantis recently just signed a brand new law that says that only 8 of the 12 jurors have to recommend the death penalty.
Tangela Johnson rocks back and forth as she testifies with teary eyes in the murder of her daughter.
Smart, intelligent, sociable, witty, fun to be around, and very caring and loving.
In the Miami-Dade courthouse, Robert Holden is up for the death penalty for allegedly murdering Kayla Goldson and committing arson.
She was beaten. She was stabbed. The evidence will show she was strangled. And she was drowned.
The crime was so brutal that the state is seeking to give him death. Only if the jury finds him guilty of first-degree murder, a second part of the trial will begin to decide if he should die or spend the rest of his life behind bars.
For the past few years, we've seen a consistent trend away from using the death penalty, so fewer new death sentences and fewer executions. Florida seems to be moving in a direction where there will be more death sentences, and that should be something to think carefully about.
This is the first trial in Miami-Dade since a new law went into effect that no longer requires a unanimous vote by the jury to recommend the death penalty as punishment. Only 8 jurors need to vote for the death penalty instead of unanimous. The charge comes after the Parkland shooter's life was spared. 9 jurors voted for death and 3 went against it.
It will be a lot easier for prosecutors to convince 8 people to vote for a death sentence than it would be to convince 12 people to vote for a death sentence.
Florida is now the state with the lowest threshold for recommendations of the death penalty.
Holden says that he's innocent and he would never hurt Kayla, but the state says that they have enough evidence to convict him. The trial will continue tomorrow. Reporting in Miami, Bianca Smith, NBC6 News.
Illegal street racing took over Miami Gardens, Wynwood, and I-95, causing bumper-to-bumper traffic and mayhem. Videos from Only in Dade show people unapologetically doing donuts, burnouts, and drifts. The marks are left all over the streets. Zaloma Sanchez is the mother of 4 boys, but her youngest son's life was cut short due to drag racing. Alberto Sanchez was loved in the community and a bright young man, but had a dangerous love for the activity.
The car is not the toys.
Sanchez was drag racing in Fort Lauderdale, going 152 miles per hour, when he lost control and ran into somebody else's car. His car was torn to shreds and unrecognizable.
No more fast drive, no more. Only the drive, slow, no slow, pero it's normal.
Sanchez says the state should create a place where people can safely drag race, where they have to wear helmets and seatbelts, so no parent ever has to go through what she did. The city of Miami police says they're going to crack down on illegal street racing.
These videos are extremely disturbing. First off, it's illegal, but most importantly, it's extremely dangerous. At any given moment, any of these drivers can lose control and hurt all the spectators or even take the lives of these spectators.
This is just one of 4 locations where street racers took over last night. If you take a look here, you can see the marks in the streets are deep. And the police want to remind the public that they are not tolerating this behavior and will be cracking down. Bianca Smith, NBC6. The Miami Marlins are on a roll as they are the 5th team this season to reach 50 game wins before the All-Star break. This group of ball players also had an offensive domination against the Cardinals last night, scoring 15 runs against them. And tonight, they'll be playing here again. Out in the brutal summer heat, the Dolphins are giving it 110%. I mean, they're out there full pads. When I was standing outside watching them, my makeup was just dripping into my eyes. And the fans are bringing it too, stomping their feet and cheering as the Dolphins come out. But everybody wants to know, what does the future hold for the Dolphins football team? Out in the training camps today, all 4 QBs were looking good, nice and light on their feet. And the Dolphins' main QB, Tua Tagovailoa, has made a noticeable change to his helmet by adding extra padding. This is due to the nasty concussions he suffered last year.
I definitely took into consideration the helmets, and, you know, it was like a percentage better than the helmet that I had. So, you know, everything matters, and so I'm going to play that percentage. So
Tua says to help with the concussions, he's also been doing jiu-jitsu.
In a weird way, it's like the quarterback room cheers when we start to do that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that we're doing jiu-jitsu falls.
And star cornerback Jalen Ramsey was seen on the side of the field after his knee surgery to repair his damaged meniscus. The fans were elated to see Jalen, and his teammates were too. He should be practicing within 8 weeks. And new player alert, Eli Apples just signed this weekend, coming down here to Miami from Cincinnati. This defensive back is here filling in for Ramsey while he is out with his injury. So the future of the Dolphins this year is looking strong and powerful. Bianca Smith, NBC6 Sports. All 3 did have court appearances this morning, but the state attorney's office revealed that they will only be charging 2 out of the 3 people, and they will be dropping some of their charges. We start off with Elizabeth Fuster. She was only facing an organized scheme to defraud charge. However, this morning, the state attorney announced they would not be pursuing this charge. Her case is now closed. The 2 other guys didn't have the same outcome. Jose Gonzalez and Lebris Williams will now be considered co-defendants. They are facing grand theft in the 3rd degree. Their other charge of organized schemes to defraud was dropped. Both Gonzalez and Williams pled not guilty. Gonzalez hired an attorney. Williams was given a public defender. The only one to physically appear was Williams. I tried to talk to him, but he did not have much to say. Let's take a listen.
I made it, y'all.
Their court date will be on the 18th, and we will continue with the story. Reporting live in Miami, Bianca Smith, NBC6 News.
Organizers for Jewish Voice for Peace attended today's Gainesville City Commission meeting to ask local leaders for a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas. This is First at 5 from WUFT News. I'm Jacob Sadesi.
And I'm Natasha Holt. Dozens voiced their opinions. Group members hope their statement will set an example for other cities. WUFT's Bianca Smith joins us live from City Hall, where the group is gathering to talk about the outcome of the meeting in just half an hour.
The Jewish Voice for Peace members have been rallied outside of City Hall all day. They're wearing shirts like "Ceasefire Now" and "Not in Our Name." Members talked about why it's important for Gainesville to take a stand and call for a permanent ceasefire. During the meeting, a number of diverse speakers shared their thoughts with city leaders. One young woman said that as a lifelong resident, she would be ashamed if Gainesville does not pass a permanent ceasefire. Some said that this isn't about religion, it's about violence. Others told leaders that they don't approve of their tax dollars being used for what they said is a genocide. The Jewish Voice for Peace says that this is the responsibility of the city commissioners. Now, within the next half hour, they are going to be holding a press conference to discuss the results of today's meeting. Ever since the war began back in October, organizations across the U.S. have been asking their city leaders to call for a ceasefire. Reporting live in Gainesville, Bianca Smith, WUFT News.